Marcus stood quietly among the tall, glowing trees, scanning every shadow and movement. The forest around him seemed alive, as if it breathed with its own secret rhythm. The morning light filtered through the leaves, casting faint streaks of gold across the ground. Yet despite the beauty, Marcus felt tension pressing against his chest. Princess Leora was out there somewhere, and he had to find her before danger found her first. Talric and the small group of patrols moved cautiously behind him. Their usual confidence had begun to fade after hours of searching with no clear trail. Even the soft rustling of leaves made them jump. Marcus's eyes, however, were sharp. Years of guarding Leora had trained him to notice the smallest details. A broken branch, a footprint slightly deeper than usual, the faint shimmer of energy in the air. "There," Marcus whispered, pointing to a narrow path between two twisted trees. "Look closely." Talric knelt, examining the soft moss. "I see faint markings. Could be footprints, but they are unusual." "They are hers," Marcus said firmly. "I know her steps. They have rhythm, strength, and precision. She is leading us somewhere." The patrol exchanged uncertain glances. Following a princess who had vanished was dangerous, yet Marcus did not hesitate. He led the way down the path. As they moved deeper, the forest seemed to change. The glowing plants that once lit the path flickered and shifted, creating strange patterns. Marcus slowed, sensing that the energy around them was no ordinary phenomenon. He reached out and touched one of the glowing leaves. It vibrated lightly under his fingers, as if reacting to his presence. "Princess Leora," he called softly. "If you can hear me, stay calm. I am coming." For a long moment there was no answer. Then a faint shimmer appeared in the distance, almost like a curtain of light swaying with the wind. Marcus's heart leapt. He had seen this before, an unusual energy field, one that could hide or protect something within. "This way," he said, moving toward the shimmer. The patrol followed, though more cautiously now. Hours passed and the terrain grew more difficult. The trees grew closer, their roots forming natural walls. Strange glowing insects flew around them, their wings leaving trails of light. Marcus noticed some of the insects hovering near broken branches and rocks, as if guarding the path. "Something feels alive here," Talric whispered. "Yes," Marcus agreed. "But not dangerous, not yet. This forest seems to recognize her." He thought back to Leora's training. She had always been in tune with her surroundings, able to sense even the smallest changes in energy, the faintest movements. If this forest was reacting to her presence, it meant she was close. He pressed forward with renewed determination. By mid-afternoon, they reached a small clearing. The ground was uneven, covered in soft moss, and glowing vines hung from the trees. Marcus's eyes caught something unusual. A series of small indentations in the moss, barely visible, as if someone had knelt there repeatedly. "She's been here," Marcus said quietly, kneeling to examine the marks. "Recently, and she rested here. She is careful, but she leaves clues little by little." Talric looked around nervously. "Do you think she is safe?" "She will be," Marcus replied. "I have never known her to fear. But we must hurry. Time is important." The patrol continued, following the subtle trail. Soon they encountered more signs. Small disturbances in the glowing plants, faint scratches on rocks, and tiny fragments of fabric caught on branches. Each piece of evidence told Marcus that Leora was moving deliberately, avoiding attention and guiding them without realizing it. As evening approached, the forest grew darker. The glowing plants became brighter in contrast, creating an almost magical light. Marcus led the patrol to a small stream. The water shimmered under the glowing plants, and Marcus noticed small footprints along the banks. "She has passed this way," he said, "recently, and she stopped here briefly. She must have sensed danger." Talric frowned. "What kind of danger?" Marcus shook his head. "I don't know yet. But whatever it is, she is smart enough to hide from it. That is why we have a chance to find her." They followed the stream for hours, the moon rising high above the canopy. Marcus felt a strange calm in the air, as if the forest itself wanted them to succeed. It was a feeling he had learned to trust when he was with Leora. Then suddenly the stream widened into a small lake. Its surface was perfectly still, reflecting the moon and stars above. Marcus approached carefully, scanning the edges. There he noticed a faint glow near a rock, a shimmer in the moss that moved slightly as if breathing. "She's here," he whispered. His pulse quickened. He crouched low, moving closer, and called softly, "Princess Leora, it's Marcus. I am here, stay calm." For a moment there was silence. Then a faint movement. A shadow shifted near the moss, curling slightly. Marcus's heart skipped a beat. He knew that shape. Small, deliberate, and alive. Before he could move closer, a sudden sound erupted from the far side of the lake. It was like a whisper of wind, but sharper, more deliberate. The glowing plants nearby pulsed rapidly. Marcus's instincts told him to be cautious. He motioned for the patrol to stay back. "This way," he murmured, approaching slowly. "She is very close." The moss shimmered again, and then from behind a cluster of glowing vines, Princess Leora stepped out, but not fully visible. She remained partially hidden, her eyes scanning the area, alert and cautious. Her hair caught the moonlight, shining softly. She looked as fierce as ever, even in this quiet, hidden moment. Marcus froze. He had found her. Relief and admiration surged through him. "Princess," he said softly, taking a careful step forward. "I have been searching for you. Are you safe?" Leora's eyes met his, and for a moment there was silence between them. Then she nodded slightly, her expression calm but unreadable. "I am safe," she said quietly, "but there is something coming. Something the colony must be prepared for." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" She shook her head. "Not yet. First, we need to leave this place. The forest is protective, yes, but it cannot hide us forever." Marcus understood immediately. The trail they had followed was not random. It was part of her plan. Leora had vanished not out of fear, but to gain time to prepare for an unseen threat. That explained the energy patterns and the careful, deliberate movements. She was always thinking, always strategizing, even when it seemed like she was alone. "Then let us go," Marcus said firmly. "I will follow your lead. Together we will face whatever comes." Leora glanced at him, a faint smile on her lips. It was rare, but it held trust and understanding. Marcus felt a surge of determination. He would protect her at all costs, as he always had. As they moved deeper into the forest, the patrol quietly followed behind, giving space to the princess and her human guard. The path grew narrower, the glowing plants twisting and curling as if guiding them forward. Marcus noticed subtle signs, broken branches, small impressions in the moss, showing that Leora was leading them toward a destination only she knew. Hours passed. The forest became denser, yet Marcus's determination never wavered. Every step he took brought him closer to understanding why Leora had disappeared. It was not random. It was intentional, and somewhere ahead the forest held its secret. Marcus knew that the coming days would test them both, human and princess, guard and leader, against dangers they could not yet see. But one thing was certain. Together they were unstoppable. As the moon rose high above the canopy, Marcus whispered to the night, "I will find you, princess. No matter what stands in our way, I will not fail." From the shadows, Leora observed him, knowing that the human she trusted most was exactly where he needed to be. And for the first time since her disappearance, she allowed herself to hope. The forest seemed to respond, the glowing plants pulsing faintly, as if acknowledging the bond between the fierce princess and her loyal human guard. The hidden trail had begun, and their adventure had only just begun. The forest grew thicker as the night deepened. Shadows stretched across the moss-covered ground, and the glowing plants flickered like small stars in a dark sky. Marcus led the way, alert to every movement, every sound. He could feel Leora's presence nearby, and it gave him courage. She was clever, cautious, and strong. He trusted her instincts as much as he trusted his own. "Princess," Marcus whispered, glancing at Leora, who was carefully observing the surrounding trees. "Do you know where we are going?" Leora shook her head slightly, her dark eyes scanning the forest. "I know the general direction. There is a place humans built long ago. It is abandoned now, but it is safe for the moment." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "An abandoned human building in the middle of this forest?" "Yes," Leora said quietly. "It was a research outpost. Old technology, old security. It can hide us while we figure out what is coming." The patrol moved closer, but Marcus could see the subtle signs of hesitation on their faces. They had been following him for hours, unsure of what to expect, but he motioned for them to stay calm. "Trust her," he said softly. "She knows what she is doing." The path narrowed, twisting between massive tree roots that rose like natural walls. The forest seemed to be alive in this part. Vines moved slightly, glowing softly as if guiding them forward. Marcus knelt, examining the ground. He noticed tiny impressions in the moss that only someone with careful, deliberate steps could leave. Leora's trail. She is very careful, he whispered, but she leaves just enough for us to follow. Leora's eyes met his briefly. A faint smile appeared on her lips. Marcus felt relief. She was safe and she knew he was close. Hours passed and finally the trees began to thin. The glow from the plants dimmed, replaced by the soft silver light of the moon. In the distance, Marcus saw it, a small metallic structure hidden among the trees. The research outpost. Its walls were dull and rusted, but the design was clever. It blended almost perfectly with the forest around it. "We are here," Leora said softly. She led the way, stepping carefully over roots and stones until they reached the outpost's entrance. Marcus opened the door carefully. Inside, the air smelled faintly of metal and old machinery. Dust covered the floors and broken monitors hung from the walls. Yet despite its abandonment, the outpost felt secure. Marcus could sense the old security systems, shields and cameras, though many were inactive. "This place is good," Marcus said, looking around. "It will hide us for now," Leora nodded. "It is more than that. This outpost has systems humans built for safety. Energy shields, observation modules, and even storage for long-term survival. It is perfect for what we need." The patrol members began settling in, though their curiosity could not be hidden. Telric asked, "Princess, why did you come here?" "Why not return to the palace?" Leora's expression grew serious. "I sensed a threat, something hidden, something that could strike the colony before anyone knew it was coming. I needed time to understand it. This place is secure. It allows me to think, to observe, and to plan." Marcus looked at her, admiration growing. He had known she was fierce, but the intelligence behind her actions amazed him. She had not disappeared out of fear. She had done it to protect everyone. He walked to a panel on the wall and activated it. The screens flickered to life, showing faint energy readings from the surrounding forest. "We can monitor the area from here," he said. "It will help us stay ahead of whatever is coming." Leora moved closer to the screens, her eyes scanning the data. "Good," she said. "We need to see patterns. We need to understand what is approaching before it reaches the colony." As they worked, Marcus noticed small signs of Leora's presence, faint marks where she had rested, scratches on the walls where she had checked for hidden devices, and a few scattered tools she had arranged. Everything was precise, deliberate, careful. She was methodical even in hiding. Hours passed. Marcus and the patrol studied the readings while Leora observed quietly, her mind analyzing every detail. The forest outside remained alive and mysterious, but inside the outpost they had a moment of safety. Suddenly a soft beep came from one of the monitors. Marcus moved closer. "Look at this," he said. A small dot appeared on the screen, moving slowly through the forest. The energy signature was faint but unmistakable. "That is not natural," Leora said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "It is approaching us, but carefully. Almost as if it knows we are here." Marcus's jaw tightened. "We have to be ready. Whatever it is clever." The patrol looked uneasy, Leora noticed. She stepped closer, her presence commanding attention. "Do not fear. We have time. And we are not alone. We have each other, and we have the forest itself. It hides us, protects us, and guides us. We only need to be patient and smart." Marcus felt a surge of respect. Leora's bravery was matched only by her intelligence. She thought ahead, prepared for every situation, and yet remained calm and focused. It was a rare combination, one that inspired everyone around her. As night deepened, Leora moved to a small observation window, watching the forest outside. Marcus joined her, standing silently. They did not speak, but the silence was comfortable. They were connected, two warriors, two friends, ready to face what was coming. Then Leora turned to Marcus. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. "The disappearance, it was intentional. I wanted to test the forest, the patrol, and even you. I needed to know who would follow me, who would trust me, and who would be ready when the threat arrived." Marcus blinked. "You tested me?" "Yes," Leora replied calmly. "I trust you, Marcus. But trust must be earned even between friends, and you have earned it. You followed, even when the path was uncertain. That tells me everything I need to know." Marcus felt a mix of relief and pride. "I will always follow you, Princess. No matter where the path leads," she smiled faintly. "I know that is why I need you close. There will be challenges ahead, but together we can face them." Hours turned into the quiet early morning. The patrol slept in small bunks while Marcus remained awake, watching the monitors and scanning the forest. Leora sat nearby, quietly observing the energy readings, her mind working through strategies and possibilities. The forest outside seemed calm, but Marcus knew better. Danger could strike at any moment, but for now they were safe. They had shelter, they had information, and most importantly, they had each other. As dawn approached, Marcus walked to the entrance and stepped outside briefly, taking in the first light. The forest shimmered, glowing faintly as if alive. He could feel the subtle pulse of energy, an invisible heartbeat in the land itself. It reassured him that Leora's instincts were correct. The forest was protective, but it was also unpredictable. Returning inside, Marcus found Leora examining a small panel of old technology. "This outpost was built for safety," she said softly. "It was abandoned, yes, but it still functions. It will give us time to prepare, to understand the threat and to protect the colony." Marcus nodded. "Then we start now, together." Leora looked at him, her eyes full of determination. "Together," she agreed. The human guard and the fierce princess had found a temporary haven, but the real challenge was only beginning. Somewhere beyond the forest, a hidden threat moved closer. Marcus and Leora would face it with courage, intelligence, and the bond they shared. For now, though, they rested, preparing for the day when they would step out of the shadows and confront whatever danger awaited them. The secret shelter was safe, but it was only the first step in the adventure that would test loyalty, bravery, and the human spirit in ways no one could yet imagine. The forest outside the outpost had quieted, but Marcus knew that calm could be deceptive. Strange energies pulsed faintly through the trees, subtle but noticeable to someone trained to sense them. Princess Leora had trusted him to follow, but he could feel that the next step in their journey would require both courage and careful thought. Inside the small outpost, Leora studied the readings on the old monitors. She had been awake most of the night, analyzing patterns and energy fluctuations. Her mind worked like a finely tuned machine, mapping out possibilities and outcomes. Marcus had watched her silently, admiring her focus, her discipline, and the sheer determination that had earned her the title of Fierce Princess. Finally, Leora spoke, her voice soft but resolute. "Marcus, it is time. We cannot stay hidden forever. The threat is moving closer, and if we wait too long, it will be too late." Marcus nodded. "I am ready. Where do we go first?" Leora pointed to the far side of the forest where faint light shimmered between the trees. "There is a place I scouted before disappearing. It is safer than the outpost and provides a better vantage point. From there, we can observe the enemy and plan our next move." The patrol prepared to move, gathering their supplies and checking weapons. Marcus stayed close to Leora, alert to every shadow and sound. As they stepped outside, the forest seemed almost alive, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Every leaf, every branch, every ripple of the moss appeared to watch them pass. They moved quickly but carefully, following narrow paths and climbing over roots and rocks. Marcus noticed subtle disturbances in the foliage, signs that Leora had passed through before, leaving markers only he could interpret. "See that?" he whispered to Talric, pointing to a faint indentation on the ground. "She was here." She tested the path, making sure it was safe. Talric nodded quietly. "She is cautious. Smart, too." Marcus smiled faintly. "That is why I follow her. She is always one step ahead." Hours passed as they navigated the dense forest. Finally, they reached a small clearing, and Marcus spotted something that made his heart leap. There, curled up on a patch of soft moss and partially hidden under glowing vines, was Princess Leora. She was safe, unharmed, but her posture suggested exhaustion. Her head rested lightly on her knees and her arms were wrapped around herself. Marcus froze for a moment, careful not to startle her. Relief surged through him. She was alive. She was safe, and here in this quiet forest she had chosen to rest near a place he could find her. "Princess Leora," he whispered softly, stepping closer. "It's Marcus. I've found you." Leora stirred slightly, her eyes fluttering open. When she saw Marcus, a faint smile appeared on her lips. She reached out slightly, not in fear but in trust, showing the bond they had shared for years. Marcus knelt beside her, careful to remain calm and reassuring. "You are safe," he said firmly. "No harm has touched you. I promise." Leora's eyes met his, and for the first time since her disappearance, she allowed herself to relax. "I knew you would come," she whispered. I trusted you, Marcus. He extended a hand, helping her rise. She leaned slightly on him, steadying herself. Marcus could feel her strength returning, not just physical but mental. She was the same fierce princess, but now with a new understanding of the dangers that lurked near the colony. We do not have much time, Leora said, scanning the forest around them. The threat I sensed is closer now. I had to test my instincts, hide and observe, and I needed to see who would follow me. Marcus frowned. You tested me? Leora nodded, her expression serious. I had to know who I could trust. Not just my people, but the humans assigned to protect me. You passed, Marcus. You followed without hesitation and you stayed alert. That is why I let myself be seen now. Marcus's chest swelled with pride. I will always follow you, princess. No matter where you go, no matter what dangers lie ahead, I will not fail you. She smiled faintly, a mixture of relief and quiet amusement. I know, she replied softly. That is why I chose you to be here. To watch over me, and to fight beside me if necessary. The patrol quietly approached, giving Marcus and Leora space. Talric spoke softly. Princess, it is good to see you safe. We will follow your lead. Leora nodded, her dark eyes scanning the forest once more. Good, but we must move. There is a vantage point nearby that will allow us to observe the area. From there we can plan our next move. Marcus helped her walk, keeping a careful eye on the surroundings. The path was narrow, twisting through dense trees and over roots, but Leora moved with a quiet strength. It was clear she was still cautious, still aware of every detail, but the relief of being reunited with Marcus gave her a small moment of ease. When they reached the vantage point, a high ridge overlooking the valley and surrounding forests, Leora paused. She looked out over the land, her eyes sharp, calculating. The colony in the distance seemed peaceful, unaware of the danger approaching. This is where we will stay for now, she said. We need to watch, gather information, and wait for the right moment to act. Marcus nodded. He set up a small observation post, using some of the old technology from the outpost to monitor energy readings and detect movement in the forest below. Leora moved beside him, analyzing the data with her keen mind. Hours passed in quiet observation. The sun began to rise, casting a soft glow over the valley. Marcus kept a careful watch while Leora studied patterns and signs of unusual activity. They communicated in small, efficient gestures and whispers, a silent understanding between them. Finally, Leora spoke, her voice low but firm. The threat is real. There are forces moving toward the colony, hidden and deliberate. I could feel them even before they arrived. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Do you know who they are? Not exactly, Leora replied. But they are clever, organized, and patient. That is why I had to disappear. I needed to study, to prepare, and to ensure that we would not be caught off guard. Marcus nodded. Then we are ready. Whatever comes, we face it together. Leora smiled faintly, the first true smile since her disappearance. She allowed herself to relax slightly, resting near Marcus. He could feel the quiet trust between them, unspoken but strong. She curled up slightly close to him, seeking not just comfort but reassurance. Marcus understood. She was fierce, strong, and independent, but even the strongest leaders needed allies, companions, and friends. As the morning light grew brighter, Marcus and Leora remained vigilant. The forest shimmered with quiet energy, as if acknowledging their presence and their bond. They were safe for now, but the real challenge was only beginning. The distant movements of the approaching threat could be sensed, subtle but deliberate. Marcus adjusted the observation equipment, noting changes in energy patterns while Leora prepared strategies in her mind. Together they formed a plan, human and Nyran, guard and princess, ready to protect the colony and confront the unseen enemy. Marcus watched Leora. Her form curled slightly near him and felt a surge of determination. I will not let anything happen to you, he whispered. Leora's eyes met his, filled with quiet strength. I know, she said. That is why we succeed. Together we are stronger than any threat. The forest pulsed softly around them, alive and protective. The distant danger moved closer, but Marcus and Leora were ready. The princess was safe, her human guard vigilant, and together they would face whatever lay ahead. In that quiet moment, the bond between human and Nyran, warrior and protector, was unbreakable. The fierce princess had vanished, yes, but now she was found safe, and ready to face the challenges that awaited, and curled up near her human guard, She allowed herself the briefest moment of rest, knowing that together, they would face the storm and emerge victorious. The sun had barely risen over the distant mountains, casting long shadows across the valley. Marcus adjusted the observation devices on the ridge, scanning the forests and plains below. Beside him, Princess Leora remained alert, her dark eyes sharp as she studied the movements of the approaching threat. "The enemy is near," she said quietly, her voice calm but firm. "They are organized but impatient. They are testing us, looking for weaknesses." Marcus nodded. "Then we have the advantage. We know they are coming and we are ready." Leora smiled faintly, a mixture of determination and confidence. "Yes, and we are not alone. The humans and Nyrans in the colony are strong. If we act smart, we can protect them and turn this attack against our enemies." The patrol members had gathered with them at the ridge, quietly preparing defensive measures. Energy shields from the outpost were reactivated and positioned to protect the valley below. Communication devices were tested. Every detail had been anticipated. Marcus watched as the princess moved with purpose, directing the humans and Nyrans with quiet authority. "You always think ahead," he said softly. Leora glanced at him, a faint smile on her lips. "Planning is part of surviving, and we survived together." Hours passed as they monitored the forest below. The enemy remained hidden, their movements subtle, almost ghost-like. Marcus felt a tension building in the air, the kind that precedes a storm. But Leora remained calm, her presence steadying everyone around her. Finally, a faint ripple of energy appeared at the edge of the trees. The enemy had begun to advance. Marcus watched closely, analyzing the patterns. "They are careful, moving slowly," he whispered. "They know we are here." "Yes," Leora replied, "but we will not give them an easy target. We will force them to reveal themselves." With a wave of her hand, she signaled the patrol to take positions. Energy shields hummed to life, forming protective barriers around the ridge and the surrounding forest paths. Hidden sensors picked up the enemy's movements, sending signals to Marcus and Leora's monitors. The first attack came as a faint shimmer, a quick pulse of energy that struck the edge of their shields. Marcus activated countermeasures, sending a soft ripple back that repelled the pulse. Leora's eyes narrowed. "They are testing us. They are trying to see how we respond." Marcus adjusted the sensors, tracking the energy pulses. "They are clever. But they are not prepared for what we have." Leora nodded. "Then we show them our strength." With precise movements, she directed the patrol to take positions along the ridge, using the terrain to their advantage. Marcus moved beside her, ready to react at a moment's notice. Together they formed a coordinated plan: Nyran agility, human ingenuity, and their shared experience in the forest. The enemy advanced cautiously, moving through the trees with speed and precision. Marcus noticed small energy signatures, clues to their movements, and relayed them to Leora. She nodded, adjusting their defense accordingly. Then, with a sudden flash, the enemy revealed themselves fully. A group of rogue alien warriors intent on destabilizing the colony. Their appearance was striking, but they had underestimated the preparation of the princess and her human guard. "Now," Leora commanded softly. The patrol moved as one, activating shields, launching energy pulses, and using the terrain to confuse and divide the attackers. Marcus focused on protecting Leora, his movements precise and fluid. Every step, every reaction demonstrated years of training and experience. Leora moved with unmatched skill, striking and dodging, directing the defenders with calm authority. She was a fierce leader, inspiring those around her to act with courage and precision. Marcus watched, impressed by her focus and bravery. She was not only strong in battle but also wise in strategy. The enemy advanced further, but each move was anticipated. Leora and Marcus coordinated counterattacks, blending human and Nyran tactics. The rogue warriors faltered, unsure how to respond to the calculated defense. Energy pulses flashed across the ridge, illuminating the battlefield in brilliant colors, but the defenders remained unbroken. "You cannot win," Leora called out, her voice carrying across the clearing. "Leave now or face defeat." The enemy hesitated. Marcus seized the moment, activating additional defensive measures from the outpost. Energy shields expanded, creating barriers that limited the attackers' movement. Leora and the patrol advanced carefully, driving them back step by step. Hours of careful strategy and precise action passed. The rogue warriors were pushed toward the edge of the forest, their movements disorganized and panicked. Leora's calm presence kept the defenders coordinated, while Marcus ensured no one strayed from their positions. Finally, the enemy had no choice but to retreat, vanishing into the forest as quickly as they had appeared. The energy reading stabilized and the forest seemed to exhale a quiet sigh of relief. Marcus lowered his sensors, breathing deeply. "We did it," he said quietly. Leora stood beside him, her posture strong and unwavering. "Yes," she replied, "but the victory is not just ours. It belongs to everyone in the colony, human and Neran alike. Together we protected our home." The patrol gathered around them, exhausted but triumphant. Talric spoke first. "Princess Leora, Marcus, you have saved us all. Your leadership, your courage. It is inspiring." Leora smiled faintly. "It is not just me. It is all of us working together. That is what makes a difference." Marcus felt a surge of pride. He had followed her through danger, through uncertainty, and together they had protected the colony. But more than that, he realized that their bond, human and Neran, protector and princess, was stronger than anything they had faced. As the morning light grew brighter, Leora and Marcus stood quietly on the ridge. She curled up slightly near him, seeking the comfort of his presence. Marcus remained close, alert but calm, his hand resting lightly near hers. In that moment, the fierce princess and her human guard shared a quiet victory, one born not just of strength but of trust, loyalty, and courage. The colony below slowly began to stir, unaware of the danger that had nearly reached them. Marcus and Leora watched over it, satisfied that their efforts had protected those who could not defend themselves. "We did it," Marcus whispered softly. "Yes," Leora replied, her voice gentle. "And together, we will face whatever comes next. Nothing can break the bond we share or the strength of those who fight for what is right." The forest shimmered faintly around them, as if acknowledging their courage and determination. Marcus looked at Leora and she returned his gaze. Both knew that they had faced a challenge greater than themselves and had emerged victorious, not just through strength, but through trust, intelligence, and unity. As the day continued, the princess and her human guard remained vigilant, prepared for any new threats but also allowing themselves a moment of rest. Leora rested close to Marcus, her head lightly on his shoulder, and he stayed alert, watching the horizon. They had endured danger, uncertainty, and challenges that could have torn them apart, but they had not faltered. Together they were unstoppable. The rogue alien threat had been defeated. The colony remained safe, and the bond between human and Neran had grown stronger than ever. The fierce princess had vanished, yes, but she had returned stronger, wiser, and more trusted than ever. And curled up near her loyal human guard, she was finally able to rest, knowing that together they could face anything. The adventure had tested their courage, strategy, and loyalty. But the greatest victory was the partnership they shared, human and alien, warrior and protector, princess and guard, ready to face any challenge with courage, intelligence, and heart. And so, in the quiet glow of the forest and the safety of the ridge, the princess and her guard remained, strong, brave, and united, a living example of the human spirit's ability to protect, to endure, and to triumph. The ocean was quiet, almost too quiet. Deep below the surface, far beyond where sunlight could reach, something stirred. Humanity had long explored the skies, sending ships to distant stars, but it had forgotten the secrets hidden beneath its own seas. No one suspected that the greatest weapon and the greatest wonder of Earth lay buried beneath miles of water. Kara Venn, a brilliant young engineer, stared at the screen in the control room of the research vessel Aurora. The ship floated above the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from excitement. For months, her team had been studying strange sonar patterns that did not match any known natural phenomena. Tonight they would find out what was causing them. "Are we ready, Kara?" asked Rian Holt, the tactical officer assigned to the mission. He was tall and lean with a sharp gaze that missed nothing. "This is the moment. One wrong move and we lose the probe." Kara nodded. "Everything is ready. Deploying in 3, 2, 1. The probe slid quietly into the dark water, its lights piercing the inky blackness like tiny stars. It descended slowly, cameras and sensors recording every detail. The team watched in silence, the hum of the ship's engines blending with the occasional ping of sonar. "Look at that," whispered Dr. Sorrow, the ship's historian and science officer. He leaned over the monitor, adjusting his glasses. That doesn't make sense." On the screen, enormous shapes appeared, far larger than any submarine or underwater formation. They were lined up in precise rows, stretching as far as the camera could see. Each object was metallic, angular, and clearly artificial. "It's a fleet," Kara breathed, unable to hide her astonishment. "Millions of them, maybe." "They're ships." Ryan's eyes widened. "Hidden here? For centuries? Why would anyone bury ships this deep?" Dr. Sorrow shook his head slowly. "History. History has been hiding a secret from us. We were never supposed to find this." The team watched in awe as the probe moved closer. The ships were enormous, some larger than modern aircraft carriers, others shaped in designs no human engineer had ever imagined. Their surfaces were sleek, dark, and unbroken by corrosion, as if they had been preserved by some ancient technology. "Activate the scan," Kara ordered. "I want to know how many there are, what they're made of, everything." The probe sent out a low-frequency pulse, and the ships began to glow faintly, as if responding to the signal. Lights along their edges flickered, revealing more of their forms. The fleet was vast, stretching far beyond the range of the probe's sensors. Kara felt her heart pound. Humanity had always thought it was small, weak, and vulnerable in the galaxy. Now she realized it had been hiding power beyond imagination. "This is incredible," Dr. Sorrow said. "This fleet, it was built long before humanity even dreamed of space travel. Some people, planned for the stars," Ryan rubbed his chin. "And they kept it hidden. Why not use it?" "Perhaps it was a deterrent," Dr. Sorrow suggested. "Or maybe a safeguard in case Earth was ever threatened." The silence of the deep seemed to press against them. The ocean was vast, and the fleet beneath it even vaster. For a moment, Kara felt the weight of history pressing down on her. She imagined the engineers, the builders, who had labored in secret, knowing their work might never be used, but still dreaming of a day when it would protect humanity. Suddenly, the probe's camera picked up movement. A hatch on one of the larger ships opened, revealing a faint pulsing light. A mechanical arm extended, brushing the water, and then retracted. Kara held her breath. "They're alive," she whispered. "Not alive," Ryan corrected, his voice tense. "Operational. They're waiting, dormant but ready." The team stared in disbelief. The fleet had been silent for centuries, yet somehow it had survived, preserved by technology far beyond what humans had achieved. It was not just a collection of ships, it was a message, a promise that humanity had power hidden within its own world. Dr. Sorrow's voice broke the silence. "This changes everything. The galaxy has been watching us, thinking we are weak, but they have no idea what is buried beneath our oceans." Kara nodded. "We need to wake them one at a time, carefully. If we activate too many at once, we could damage them or ourselves." Ryan frowned. "And the aliens? If any are monitoring us, they might notice the fleet too." Kara's fingers hovered over the control panel. "Then we need to be smart. We can't let anyone underestimate Earth again." Over the next hours, the team worked tirelessly. Each ship was scanned, each system analyzed. Kara marveled at the ingenuity of the ancient engineers. Self-repairing hulls, energy sources that seemed endless, navigation systems that could anticipate movements. Faster than any human pilot, Dr. Sorrow found records etched in the interior of the ships, databases, preserved in crystal modules that had resisted the pressure of the deep ocean for centuries. He read aloud, "This fleet shall remain hidden until the day it is needed to defend the people of Earth. Let no threat underestimate the ingenuity, courage, or determination of humanity." Ryan clenched his fists. It was a warning and a promise. Kara smiled faintly, though her heart still raced. "And now it's our turn to honor that promise." As the night wore on, the first ship slowly awakened. Its engines hummed, pushing water aside with immense power. Lights along its hull illuminated the dark sea, sending beams that stretched for hundreds of meters. The crew on the Aurora watched, mesmerized as the ship rose slightly from its resting place, testing its systems. "It's beautiful," Dr. Sorrow said, his voice filled with awe. "Centuries under the ocean, and it still moves as if it were alive." Kara adjusted the controls, linking the ship to their network. "We'll awaken the others gradually. Each ship we bring online will teach us more about the fleet. more about our own history. Rian glanced at the sonar display. I hope the galaxy is ready. They've been watching us, thinking we were small. They have no idea what's coming. The ocean seemed to hold its breath. Somewhere in the depths, millions of ships waited, dormant but powerful. Humanity had discovered a secret older than most civilizations in the stars. A secret that would change the balance of power forever. Kara looked at her team, her friends, her family in this moment of discovery. We've been given a gift, she said softly. Not just of power, but of responsibility. We have to be careful and clever. The future of Earth depends on what we do next. The first ship blinked its lights, a silent signal to the others. Slowly, like a chain reaction, more lights began to flicker across the deep ocean floor. Humanity's hidden fleet was awakening one by one beneath the waves. The stars above had always watched, waiting to see if Earth would rise. Now the galaxy would finally see what humanity could achieve when it combined courage, intelligence, and unity, and deep in the ocean, a voice of the past seemed to echo through time. Let no one doubt the strength of humanity. The fleet shall rise when it is needed, and the stars will know our name. For the first time in centuries, the ocean was alive with the power of Earth's hidden million-ship armada, and the galaxy would never be the same again.